back out again. Third test ride of the day, and another 4 to do. Busy boy that I am. Right, Lexmoto Diablo 125. So this one coming to us, he'd been riding for about a month. This one came back to us ages ago, absolutely ages ago, and it was kept cutting out on him. So investigated the bike and found he had a little bit of water ingress on his relay. He'd been through a big puddle in it and got under the bike, got into the battery box and wet the relays up. Water and electrics do not get on well. That's it, you pull out on me. Go on, get out of the way. And obviously solved that, ordered the new relay. Came next day from Lexmoto, thank you boys. And solved the issue, got it out riding. He's been riding about a month. No issues at all with this bike whatsoever. I've never had a Diablo back so many times. And he'd been to the Tesco, filled up with fuel, and gone to restart the bike, started and then died. And I was like, okay. So first thing we did, what petrol have you put in the bike? Have you put E5 in it? No, definitely put E5 in it, not E10. Alright, okay, get it in, that is weird. So he managed to push it up the hill, get it to us. Thank God it's a little light bike, not a big one. And we can get a bit more power on this because it's done 2,000 miles, so we can open this up, give it a nice long run. So got it in, had a look, had the plug out, changed the plug, and while I was there, have we got spark? Weird, no spark. Had a good look, checked the plug clamp, everything's all good. Went through all the fuses, did all the relays, swapped them about, job done. Turned it on and the pump stuttered. Okay, this isn't weird. Pump should normally and engage and then pump through what it needs to the injector, job done. Pump wasn't engaging, but the spark came back to life. Right, okay, we took the lid off the tank, or the fuel cap off, and the fuel was about 10 mil below the top of the neck. It was brimmed to the maximum. I'll give the bike a little bit of a shake, and oh, lo and behold, there's a little bit of petrol coming out there. It's coming right up to the top of the tank, so it's over full. We drained off 2.5 litres to get it down to about 1.5 inches below the filler neck. And even with them 2.5 litres off, I am showing a full tank down there. Armed it up, turned it over, pump would still not engage. What is going on with this bike? So, disconnect the fuel line from the injector, let it drain out, and as soon as you arm the ignition, the pump primes and it squirted out the fuel. Yay, we have fuel. Turned it off, drained the line, turned it on again, pump primes, pushes the fuel through. Yay! And it is very, very typical of any bike. If you over brim the tank, you have a breather hose that allows a certain amount of air pressure to roll into the tank. Otherwise you get what's called a vacuum lock. There is no air movement in the tank, it's sucking on just pure fuel. There's no air coming through to let the tank breathe, and it's basically like you sucking on an empty balloon. You can't get anything out of it, and that was what the fuel system was doing. It was just couldn't breathe. The fuel could not breathe. So draining the tank off, cleaned out the vacuum line, lo and behold, look, the bike is running. And it was that was killing everything. So we've gone through, we've cleaned all the electrics, cleaned all the connections, been through the entire bike, drained it all out. I've started it numerous times in the workshop, and I can't be bothered with speed bumps today. And we're out having a nice long ride and a waffle. So if you own a scooter, do not brim your tank right to the top. about an inch below the filler neck, and it doesn't just go for scooters, it goes for all bikes. You've got to allow a bit of an air gap in the top of the tank for that tank to breathe and get his vacuum line running. That is what vacuum lines are for. Without the vacuum line, you're not going to pull any fuel through, and that's basically what this had, fuel starvation, even though it had a full tank. Learning curve for the customer, because obviously there is no issue with the bike, it is human error. It is a chargeable job. But obviously on this case, and I've spent I think 2 hours on this now, trying to find, been through all the electrics, had the panels off, gone there, but done my diagnostic loop, and that is known as FAST, which is fuel, air, spark, tappets. So that is the first thing. So if the bike don't work, check the fuel. Has he got the correct fuel in it? Is it E10? Is it E5? Air. Have you got air movement? And that is where obviously we found it was breathing all right through the carb. It's got compression. Left hand indicator down here. And then check the spark. And that was obviously, I jumped straight to spark. I always go straight to spark first. Have I got spark? Is it the coil? Is it the CDI? Is it the ECU? Is it the stator? But it wasn't, it was fuel. Should have stuck on fuel first, RB. But fuel, air, spark, tappets. Fast. Remember that name. So, E5 petrol. Check you've got air. Make sure your breather box isn't all blocked up and crudded up, and you've drained your water, because you will get water and fuel going into your air box. Gumming up your filter. Give it a clean out. Check your spark, change your plug if need be. Plugs are cheap, about £4 for a spark plug these days, unless of course you've got the iridium one in there, and that's normally with the big bikes. And then obviously if it starts doing it when it's running hot, it's going to be tappets. But this is running fine. We've started, stopped, we've started, stopped, we've started, stopped. Now the one thing I did pick up on these Diablos, and this is for any Diablo rider out there, take your battery cover off. Undo the 2 screws, pop your battery cover off. You will notice at the back, so nearest to sort of the engine, is a hole. Sitting in front of it are the 2 relays. It's basically a breathing hole. Why they've put that hole there? Because if you go through a big puddle, all the water gets into there and it gets straight on the relays. You get water ingress. So how did RB solve that? With the use of gaffer, duct tape. And I've duct taped the gap up. You ain't getting any water in this now, but yeah, Lexmoto, there we go, one for you. That little gap at the back where the battery is, I know it's meant to be like breathing and to let air in, and you don't need it. Seal the bloody battery off. Seal the relays off. It's electrical connections. You don't want them getting in contact with water in deep puddles. Not that it's going to throw any water in there, but if you happen to go through a big puddle that splashes up inside the back of the bike, look at that. Another one. Bell end of the week. EF10FWN. Oh, yeah. And he's like, oh, sorry, mate. Yeah, sorry, mate. Oh, flash the hazards. Yeah. Numpto. Why would you come onto a roundabout when someone's turning right? And I see this all the time. I have numerous bell end of the week videos, and if you haven't seen my one that I've done recently, bell ends of the week, with the lycra clad cyclist, well, she didn't have lycra on, but crossed in front of one car, and then as I'm coming around the roundabout on my bike, it's like, you're meant to give way. What? If I'm on the roundabout and I've got priority and right of way, I'm meant to stop middle of the roundabout and let you through and put myself in danger? Not happening, love. Lycra clad army. Now, most cyclists are pretty darn good, and I know quite a few cyclists. My neighbour is a cyclist, he runs his own cycle shop, and I said to him, do you see this all the time? He said, one thing that infuriates me about people on bicycles is going through red lights, yeah, RLJs they call them, red light jumpers. He said the other thing is obviously cutting across junctions, going up the pavement, they see a red light, they go up the pavement, go round the red light and then back onto the road, or they'll jump zebra crossings. He said, I see it all the time. A bicycle is classed as a vehicle on the road. Obey the traffic laws. So that was my one that I had, but I've just had another one. Love it. Doesn't faze me in the slightest, apart from when I'm on the big bike and I'm like, someone shouts and calls me out. That winds me up. But the standard of driving these days is through the floor. What do you think of standards of driving? Have people lost the ability to learn how to drive or ride a vehicle? I suggest all car drivers go and ride a motorcycle for 6 months. See how you get on. They'll soon realise it's quite a hard little game to ride one of these and deal with numpties, or cages as we call them, in their cars. Right, we're going to do the loop one more time, get a few miles on it. 5 miles is going to be enough for me. This has got loads of power, and obviously watch out for the Verti, because the speed van's normally down here, which it isn't today, which is good. But the Lexmoto Diablo riding fine now. It's had some fuel drained out and the vacuum lines cleared out. Do not block your vacuum lines. And someone said on the Lexmoto, don't worry about the blocking up your vacuum line, because it will go down the front of the carb in front into the air breather. Yes, you're overfueling the bike. Or if it's got no vacuum, it's not going to pull anything for you. Oh, the joys. And as usual, we get it in the net. Oh, the bike runs like a bag of crap. No, human error. Sorry. But obviously, we're taking this one on the chin. Give the rider a little bit of experience. He is a young rider. And give him a few pointers and technical advices, which I normally do when I hand the bike over. E5 petrol, blah, blah, blah. Do this, do this. This is your maintenance. This is your walk round. Check your water, check your oil, check your tyres, blah, blah, blah. And still people don't listen. We just had a gentleman pull on the yard earlier, literally just about put my crash helmet on. Came in on his brand new LXS. Oh, I've just bought this second hand. Yeah, it's leaking coolant. It shouldn't do. How are you checking your level? Well, I've got the bike on the side stand, and it's below the low mark. Well, it will be, because you've got the bike on the side stand. You need to put the bike level. Where did you top it up to? I topped it up about halfway, and I went, too much. Well, no, because it's not going to be full. Yes, it is. And then obviously I levelled the bike up, showed him, and it was right to the top of the cap, and he went, ah. So that is why your LXS is leaking coolant. It is blowing off what it doesn't need out of the drain tube on the top. There's a little drain tube, overfilled tube, and it's blowing off with the pressure of the engine and the water getting hot. Water will expand when it's hot. Try boiling a kettle. That is exactly what your bike is doing. It is blowing off coolant. Oh, you need to check it. Well, how do I do that when if it's just me? Well, get someone to sit on your bike for you. Get your partner or a friend to sit on the bike, level it up, and check your level with the bike upright. Don't go checking your oil or your water when the bike is on the side stand. You will get an incorrect reading. Right, we're heading back to the garage. Cup of coffee time. And hopefully I've managed to catch everything. We're on the drift at the moment while my GoPro batteries are recharging. So hopefully we've caught numpty of the week. I should have had the GoPro on really. That would have been a better video. But needs must. Quick test ride, chuck the drift on. Head back to the garage and get ready for my next job. And my big one tomorrow, where I'm doing a set of forks on a Triumph Tiger 1250. Massive great bike, and a set of fork seals on that one. The joys of doing forks, even though I haven't had time to do my own yet, but we will get round to it. But all good, riding like a good one, happy days, bike is fine. Where we go, Mr. Car Driver? Please wait there, thank you very much. Wait for Mr. Driving School to go there. Nice Beamer with yellow lights there. Nice. Right, so back we go. Test ride done. Bike is all good. Phone the customer. Come pick your bike up. And it looks like it's going to rain. And I've got my Harley and my Royal Alloy sitting on the yard. Put them away quickly before it rains, because I've just polished the damn things. Just done all the chrome on that Harley. So, Let me know what you think. Should motorists be made to ride a motorcycle for 6 months? Do you think standards of driving are dropped? Have you ever overfilled your tank? If you've got any questions, drop me a question and we'll read them out on the live stream. mrredbomb@gmail.com. Fire me a question over if you've got anything you need, or if you've got Facebook, I tend to be on the Lexmoto Owners UK page, or you can mail me at the garage or Mr. Revbomb on my Facebook page. Just look out for Revbomb. Don't forget, Bike Meet is down here a week this Sunday, 9th of July. All the yard is going to be full of bikes, lots of bikers coming, but until the next time, be well, ride safe, and it's a big goodbye from me.